The repeal of the Stamp Act looked like a victory to the colonists. It wasn't. On the very same day Parliament scrapped the hated tax, it quietly passed the Declaratory Act with a single sentence of law declaring it could make rules binding the colonies in all cases whatsoever. It was the kind of phrase designed to be read two ways. To the colonial moderates, it sounded harmless, nothing more than a formal nod to Britain's authority. But in Westminster, most MPs knew exactly what it meant, in all cases, including the power to tax. They simply chose not to say so out loud. Pushing the point would risk another colonial uprising, and Britain wasn't ready for that fight yet.
Welcome to Unlocking the Secrets of America's Founding Ideas. Discover the untold stories of American history with the National Character Association.
In less than a year after the repeal of the Stamp Act, Parliament was ready to step forward again. Parliament's new tactic was a tax on imported goods, things colonists couldn't easily make themselves. Glass, lead, paint, paper, and tea. They called them the Townshend Acts. To Parliament, it was a clever fix. These were external taxes on trade, not internal taxes on daily life. Surely the colonies would accept them. And the revenue would go straight to paying royal governors and judges, tying their loyalty to the crown rather than the colonial assemblies. This wasn't just about revenue, it was about forcing the colonies to be dependent on the crown. The colonists began to see through this act for what it really was, a tighter chain to the British crown. And to make sure no one evaded the law, Britain created a board of custom commissioners, a powerful group of enforcers tasked with crushing smuggling once and for all. Enter John Dickinson, a Pennsylvania lawyer with a pen as sharp as any sword. In a series of essays titled Letters from a Farmer in Pennsylvania, Dickinson shattered Parliament's careful distinction between external and internal taxes. He argued if Britain could levy any tax simply to raise money, then no liberty was safe. Even a small tax was dangerous, not for its cost, but for the precedent it set. Accept it once, and Parliament could tax anything at any rate forever. The tragedy of American liberty, he wrote, would be finished. His words weren't a call for violence. Dickinson urged petitions, lawful protest, and if those failed, boycotts. But his essays spread across the colonies, uniting farmers, merchants, and lawyers in a common cause to resist the Townshend Acts before it was too late. By early 1768, colonial assemblies passed resolutions to halt imports of British goods. The Sons of Liberty organized merchants and towns to stand firm. Harassment of customs officials grew bolder and sometimes turned violent. The British answer? Warships in the harbor, Redcoats on the streets. Boston, a city of just 16,000, would soon hold more than 2,000 British soldiers. Every day, tension built between armed authority and defiant people. The air was thick with mistrust and ready to explode. The Townshend Acts were supposed to bring order. Instead, they brought the colonies to the brink. Soon, a confrontation between armed soldiers and angry citizens would stain the snow of Boston red.
Like, follow, and subscribe to the National Character Association. Visit nationalcharacter.org to learn more.